Welcome back to the Transport Manager Coach podcast. Today is a special one. I'm joined by not just my business partner, but also a great friend of mine, Leo.
Hello,
how you
mate.
doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, podcast number 2, mate.
Yes, yeah. Let's get it done. I'm excited.
And it's all about you, eh?
Oh, my favourite subject.
So, you're someone that's taken the leap from transport management, from fire service to waste industry and transport management. And today we're diving into seeing how Leo did it. So what else has he been able to achieve since becoming a qualified transport manager, and how the mindset plays a massive role in building a successful career in this space. So Leo, welcome to the show and welcome to All About You.
Thank you very much, mate. So pleasure to be here. Pleasure to have the chat. It's always good to have conversations with you and talk about business and what's coming up for us and everything. So I'm excited.
Oh, I absolutely love it. So this is going to be going on about basically your journey from being a firefighter all the way to owning your own successful waste business, and how transport management has basically you've benefited from being a transport manager during this period. So let's crack on, eh, mate?
Yeah, let's do it.
So so let's start from the top then. How did you first get into the the fire industry?
Well, I was in my early 20s, and I was at the time I was studying to be an accountant, and I was working for UPS, United Parcel Service.
Yeah.
And I was just twice a week I was having to trudge into central London to Holborn on the tube to do my night school for my studying for the qualification, and then during the day I was just in the office just doing menial accountancy admin tasks. And one of those used to be going through the payroll for all the employees. And I remember seeing the CEO of the UK ops. He was a German guy. He worked in my office, and I used to see what he got paid. And I think he was taking something silly like 24 grand a month home. And they was also paying for his digs in Richmond, like 6 grand a month in Richmond. And we're talking like 20 odd years ago. And I was just thinking, wow, I'm just going to spend the rest of my life counting other people's money, watching other people get rich doing this. Yeah. And then at the same time, I was also playing rugby, and I was playing for a team. And there was a monster. He was on the side, and he was a London firefighter, and he used to always. We used to always chat to him about his week and his shifts and just how he was, just as pals. And I used to just be fascinated by his stories, and think to myself, wow, your days and your weeks are just completely different to mine. Although we come together on the weekend and play rugby, like the majority of your time is just completely different to mine. And I just thought, wow, I'd just love to do what you do. But at the time I used to wear glasses. And you had to have 20/20 vision to get into the fire brigade, so I just kind of discounted it as like I can't be a fireman. I've got bad eyesight. And then 9/11 happened, and I was watching the program, the documentary that came out afterwards about a couple of French brothers who were filming the New York fire departments, and just watching that documentary, I just thought, no, I have to do everything I can to try and get into the fire brigade. So I ended up getting laser eye surgery, kind of, well, I suppose I could talk about it now because I'm out, but had laser eye surgery, but had it so close to one of my tests for the fire brigade that I sent my friend in to do the eye test for me. So he went in to take the eye test because I hadn't recovered from my laser eye surgery. And then, yeah, I eventually got in. Moved to Nottinghamshire to get into the Nottinghamshire Fire Department, and yeah, I enjoyed 12 amazing years in the fire service.
Wow, you must have definitely saw some stuff in being in the fire service and that, mate.
Yeah, you do. It's not it's not like, well, like before I joined, I thought it was just going to be like London's Burning, that old TV program where sort of like every shift the bells go down and you're at a blazing building or something like that. But it wasn't like that at all. You turned up to shift and you didn't have a clue what would happen, like whether there was going to be a big fire or a big car accident, or whether you're just going to get the night in bed. So those big crashes or huge burning building fires, they didn't happen nearly as much as people may have thought. But it was it's still an awesome job, and I just loved the sense of purpose I got from it, just of being able to help people.
Well, thank you for your service. Definitely appreciate that, because I wish I'd done something like that over my time, but I never had the balls to do it. And but yeah, thank you very much, because you're definitely putting your life at risk to save other people. So yeah, definitely a great big thank you to you, Leo, mate.
Oh, thank you, mate. But it's all the emergency services. We'd worked together on many jobs. The paramedics, the police, and it's those emergency services. They're a little bit underappreciated, I think. Not so much the fire brigade, because everyone kind of used to sort of like us turning up, but the paramedics used to get an awful lot of stick from drunks and stuff on a Friday night, and the police are just, well, not many people like the police, but we used to get on really well with them. And yeah, I think all emergency services, they do deserve a bit of backing.
Oh yeah, 100%. So from there, then, did you manage to get like a lorry license through them working in the fire service, or was that something you done after? Or
no, I originally got my HGV to help my father-in-law out. So he had the skip hire business, and he used to just do mini skips. And then as his sort of like account customers, his regulars started to take on bigger jobs, they needed bigger skips, which he couldn't service with his mini skip lorries. So he went out and brought himself an 18-ton skip lorry, but had no one to drive it. So he got me to go through my HGV, so then I could drive. Just as he was getting like set up, I could drive for him on my days off, because I used to work a 4-on 4-off shift. So on a couple of those days I had off from the fire brigade, I'd go and drive for him, and basically he used to condense all of his big and heavy skip work in those 2 days that I could drive for him, and I'd just get the work done. So that's the reason I got the HGV, and then it's just a nicety that I had that. And then when I became a driver in the fire brigade, I didn't have to go through that course. I just had to do my EFADS course, which is Emergency Fire Appliance Driving course, which is basically a safe way to drive on blue lights.
Oh, I bet that was a great course to learn. So I gather that basically what helped you to transition into your successful waste business that you're running still at the moment, I gather.
Yeah. So I probably worked for John on my days off for about 10 years. Just just driving, and then he'd go through busy and quiet periods, and on those quiet periods he kind of just lay me off, so there wasn't any work. But I was starting to rely on that extra bit of income, so I thought, well, I need to try and get him busy so he doesn't lay me off. So I got the skip company their first website, started doing sort of like Google AdWords, Facebook pages, started taking card payments and getting all that set up for him, and account customers, like 30-day account customers, just to get him busy, and it worked. The business took off, and it worked a bit too well. Then I couldn't have a day off, because he just needed me in all the time. If I wasn't driving, I was in the office processing card payments and doing invoicing and answering emails. It was bit me in the butt a bit.
So I gather you having those 4-on 4-off days in the fire service, and then helping him basically helped you to transition into the successful business you're running currently. And I gather like at what part of that did you realize that like sort of transport and compliance was part of a key of running a successful business? Because I gather you started doing little bits here and there, and there must have been a point where you thought, hang on, transport management, compliance and all that is just quite nice to see when the pin dropped about compliance, to sort of fold in with the transport manager coach that we're talking about.
Yeah, so he had a standard national operator's license, but his transport manager was his cousin who kind of had it by grandfather's rights. So when he unfortunately passed away, Tony, John had to find another transport manager, and he didn't want to sit through the CPC himself, so he got me to do it. So due to full son-in-law as I am, I took 2 weeks holiday from the fire service, and then sat the CPC and luckily passed straight away and became the transport manager for the business. But prior to that, I kind of, by osmosis, just by being in and around John in the office, and being a driver, I got to learn about, they had analog tachos back in those days, the frisbees.
I was about to say that. Everyone back in the old days used to always call them frisbees, and
yeah. So it used to be just a case of like when you was driving, you just filled out the details on the back, and then that was it. And then the next day, the old one would come out. It'd go in the overhead compartment or in the door card, and be forgot about until, I think John, I can't remember how it happened, but he got a basically notification of an audit that the VOS they were at the time was coming to do an audit, and that was when kind of like panic stations. Let's try and get all the tachos together. Let's go through and make sure they're filled out properly with the start of day and the end of day on the back, and make sure the mileage was put on the right way round, and that's when I didn't get all the like PMIs up straight and the paperwork, and try and dig out the invoices for the work completed on the vehicles. So that's when I kind of got real good insight into the actual day-to-day compliance running of a business, rather than just what you see in your 8-day or 9-day CPC course.
I think you've hit a nail on the head. There is a lot of companies out there, they don't understand the actual compliance. They get someone who's just passed their exam, and it's not until you get an inspection or something happens is when you actually realise what compliance actually is. And I think we've all been there. We've all been with a company or family business, and that's happened, and it's like, wow, like we're not compliant, we got to do whatever we got to do. And so like leading from there is like, what is like the toughest process you've had to deal with running a business that you kind of you worked on the side and then you started overseeing it and then taking over? Like, what is the toughest process that you've had to deal with in that situation then?
Well, from whilst John was still in charge, and we had the photo inspection, that was quite tough, getting ready for that and not knowing what to expect. But to be fair, the inspector was really good. He saw what we were doing and what we were missing, and that we were keen to sort of like learn how to do it properly. And if what we were missing, we wanted to know so we could do it properly the next time. And they'd go away, they'd give us a set of instructions to get up straight, and then to email them through the evidence that we'd done it, and we did, and then that gave us our systems to carry on with and keep in place. So although it's stressful at the beginning, it was a real good learning curve and a real good exercise to learn the proper practical way of being compliant and running the business compliantly. So that was good and bad. And other than that is when the way I got to taking the business over was my father-in-law wanted to retire. So he kind of came to me and he said he wants to retire the next year, and if I wanted to leave the fire brigade and take it over, I was more than welcome to. Otherwise, he'd kind of just wind the business up. So I thought, look, he'd who's got a good life, who's done well out of the business. We wanted a bigger family. We only had one child at the time. I'd be silly not to give it a go. So I did. I left the fire brigade. I took it over. But yeah, as soon as John actually retired and he wasn't coming in anymore, and all of a sudden the buck stopped with me, that was when it started to get really tough, like cash flow issues and worrying about making payroll and
scary times, scary times, especially never running a business as well, isn't it? Like the first time, it is scary, isn't it? Because you think it's all easy, don't you? You see other people running businesses and stuff like that, and you think, oh, this is right, I can do it, and it its own, doesn't it? Sometimes it's like, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, completely. It's just yeah, it can be a little bit lonely. And very worrying, especially because the way all of this was happening at the time. I had a young family. By now, the second one was on the way, and I was just always very conscious that I didn't want to kind of take the stresses home. Because I thought if I did, then I'd be in trouble as well. Because then there really would be no escaping it. Because it's there all day when I'm at work, and it'd be there when I'm through my front door. So. That was something else, another learning curve I had to kind of sort of like get over and learn, was just how to manage the stress, the day-to-day stress, and not taking it home.
Yeah, that 100%, totally understand where you're coming from and that. And like with so I gather going from the fire forces into running your own business now. Getting your CPC, you kind of had to fall into getting your CPC, which is probably a bonus in the long run. But how have you found having your CPC to actually be able to expand on the business and make sure compliance is on point? Has it been beneficial with you doing your own CPC and then rather than getting someone else on there telling you what to do? And then part of you getting your CPC, when you have other people as transport managers on your O license, it's an advantage to know, isn't it, that you know how to stay compliant, whether or not your name's on the O license. I gather having your own CPC knowledge has definitely helped you and your business to succeed and stay compliant.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, having the CPC myself, even though, like we discussed in episode 1, you're the transport manager for my waste management business now, but having the CPC myself and that background just makes it a day-to-day running and of the compliance side of the business a lot easier. So I'm not relying on you to come in once a week to do everything. Basically, I'm able to do quite a bit of the stuff behind the scenes. So you're just in there, you can just come in and monitor the systems that you put in place that I can upkeep because I have the knowledge of the compliance. I know why you're telling me to do these things because I have that background knowledge. And it's if I hadn't, if say you were the transport manager and my father-in-law was still in charge, him not having that background knowledge, he might be a little bit more draconian, thinking, "Oh Christ, why is Darren making me do these daily diary entries or do this to keep this weekly spreadsheet? All I want to do is get my trucks out on the road and deliver and pick up skips." But me having that knowledge of the compliance and the CPC and the upkeep of the O license, it just makes it a lot easier of a task to do and keep that routine to, because I know how important it is.
100%. And I think from passing your CPC, having your knowledge of running a business, knowing that I know I'm your transport manager, but having someone else there, it just helps you with your confidence that someone's not pulling the wool over you, isn't it? Like that when someone's in there. I know we've got a great relationship, but when you've got an external transport manager in there, you know what compliant looks good. And yes, you're being an operator and doing 100 other things, hence why you outsource it as an external transport management role. But I gather you're just more confident, aren't you, with having your CPC, the knowledge, the background, the years of experience of being in that industry. it just makes you more of a successful business. And it's so nice when I come and speak to you and I see how well you're doing and everything. It's absolutely amazing. So like leading from there is more the question set I'm going to be throwing at you is more is like mindset and growth. And what would you say your mindset was like before becoming a transport manager to when you become a transport manager? Like, was there a shift in your sort of mindset and growth when you become a qualified transport manager?
Yeah, I'm very growth mindset orientated. So I'm always trying to learn more or better myself in all different areas of my life. So yeah, once I did the CPC, again, it's just that area of the industry, of the business that I got to see and learn about and see the significance and the importance of it in not just waste management, but putting any type of HGV on the road. So it was great to have that as my development. And again, it just spurred me on to want to learn more. And to be fair, it wasn't until really recently, after meeting you, that I kind of really saw the breadth of the CPC and as a qualification and what you could actually make of it and get from it. Previously, when I took it, all I kind of saw it was a kind of almost as a means to the end. Like my father-in-law needed a transport manager. I was the ideal candidate. He'd pay for me to do it. It'd be a string to my bow, but that string I could only see as being on the bow of his business. Whereas after meeting you and chatting with you and learning more about your business and getting the idea for the transport manager coach, I could see the real benefit of the qualification and how far you could actually take it. And to be honest, I just really wish I'd met you a good few years ago, because I think I could still be in the fire service if I had realised how great the qualification could be and the doors and avenues you could take it down.
It's 100% you can diversify with this qualification, and I think from your experience, it just makes perfect sense because you've been there, done it. Now the doors are opening, and now sometimes you just need to speak to someone that's not in your normal circle, isn't it? And it kind of pricks your ears up, and you realise. And for people that are listening, and that like if you explain certain things, like you can go on 4O licenses, you can become like an auditor, you can become a driver trainer with your qualification. It's literally you can go wherever you want with it, can't you?
Oh, completely, yeah. Like you say, you can be an external transport manager. You can, if you like the security and the comfort of a guaranteed pay slip each month and a pension, you could join up with a company and be a PAYE. But yeah, the external transport management, and like you say, the other avenues you can take it down with training and auditing and consultancy. You don't necessarily have to be on anyone's own license to really start to earn from having that knowledge. It's it's a great industry, and it's a great qualification, great role.
With you having it, would you say this bit of a versus situation? Would you be happy to be in like a part-time transport management role, 9 to 5, or do you actually quite like the freedom of being an external transport manager where you kind of do your own hours, your own times, and a bit more of a family life balance? Or what's your sort of go-to? Because I know everyone's different. It'd be quite nice to hear your sort of what sort of position you'd like to be, like that you're in, basically.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I quite just a second ago, I kind of flippantly said I might still be in the fire brigade if I'd learned sort of like how lucrative or adaptable the qualification could be. But I do flip backwards and forwards from thinking that from time to time, because I absolutely adored the fire service, my role. I used to have a real sense of purpose with my life and in my days. I used to be really proud of what I did, but it doesn't pay very well. I was, like I said, I was in the fire service for 12 years, and at the end of that, I was only on 29 grand a year.
Wow.
So, and we had one child at the time. We wanted a bigger family, and I just knew I couldn't afford it just on that salary. So that was a huge impetus for why I left and took on the business, was for more earning potential. But if I had that knowledge at the time that I could have used a transport manager CPC, which I had at the time, I was still in the fire service when I had it, and I could go out and I could just go on a couple of O licenses and bump my earnings up by £1,000, £1,200 a month with not too much extra work, just maybe 8 hours a week, 12 hours a week. Would I have been so quick to leave the career? I'm not too sure. But then on the other hand, I am very entrepreneurial, so I do love being a business owner and having the opportunity to really push and grow the business and use it to sprout other businesses like we have done with Transport Manager Coach, and on the skip company. I also started the clearance side, like the man and van side. I launched that. We did a bit of property maintenance as well for a while. So I don't know whether that side of me would have been fed enough if I stayed as a firefighter and just being on a couple of O licenses. So yeah, there's two sides of me that fight against each other from time to time. But when it's getting close to end of month and I've got to meet payroll and I'm getting a little bit stressed about that, that's when I wish I was still a fireman, or when I want to take the kids on holiday for 2 weeks and not have to worry about who's going to cover the drivers, or be worried about if anyone calls in sick or who's going to answer the emails. That's when I wish I could still be a fireman. But other than that, I do love what I do. But the transport manager coach is my little foot dipping my toe back in, of building a bit more purpose into my life, of trying to help someone and pass on a little bit of experience.
So I think going from that then is it's nice to see the journey of Leo, which is absolutely amazing. I didn't know much about you previously, about the fire service, so I've really enjoyed it and listening in, and I can see how hungry you are and everything. And I think it's nice to now talk about why we come together to go and do the transport management coach, and it'd be quite nice from yourself to kind of tell people who's listening, like, what's it about, what you can get from it, why we've decided to go ahead and do this, and just give people sort of a feel of what this is all about. If you're happy to do that, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. As slightly touched on earlier, the transport manager coach. So what it is in a nutshell is just an online community where transport managers or potential transport managers, whether they be external or internal full-time, they can come and kind of hang out with like-minded people online and gain information or insight, or ask questions to get knowledge of the industry, of their qualification, and just learn how to get the most of that qualification, whether it be they want to grow a business into a bit of behemoth and get into compliance and auditing and be on 4O licenses and get a training business put together, or whether they're like how I was, where I've got a career I love, but then I've also got the qualification and I just want a bit of a side hustle, and I want to learn how to integrate it into my life where I can earn an extra grand, £1,500 a month, without it affecting my life too much, other than really enhancing it and giving me a bit more of a work-life balance than I already have. So that was where the idea of the community came from. And yeah.
What about like when we go on like Facebook and we have a look at some of these free groups that you sign up to and stuff like that, or it just makes you laugh, some of the comments, and people want to slate people. And I think the reasons why we decided to do it is to help support people, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, some of these Facebook groups aren't the best places to go to seek advice if you might be a new external transport manager, or may have even been a transport manager for ages, like myself. Just, you might look after a couple of lorries in the business. You know what you need to do month to month to get by, to do your driver downloads, to check your licenses, to download your tacho units, to do your PMIs. But then all of a sudden, the lorry might get pulled over and have a PG9 put on it, and then that's the first time you've come across anything like this. So you want somewhere that you can go to seek a little bit of advice, and then not just get shot down with, like, you're the transport manager, you should know this, or what's the use of doing your CPC if you're not going to retain the knowledge, or just silly, snipey little comments like that. We just want it be a nice place to hang out with no ego. You can come on, you can do training, you can work on continual development, you can listen to podcasts about the industry, you can watch webinars, you can do free courses, paid courses. It's just, like I say, I didn't really know the breadth of being an external transport manager till I met you, and you told me your story, and then the coach and the community and the school community that we created feeds into, well, both of our kind of empathetic side of just always wanting to help people, to try and ensure that everyone wins, everyone progresses, and it's just our way of giving back, really.
No, 100%. I think I couldn't say it any better than that. And it's definitely, I think, from your background, my background, and experiences that we've done, the highs, the lows, the learning curve, and everything. Like we're just wanting to help people to be successful, but don't have to go through the tears that we've had to go through. So it's been really powerful when I first met you and everything, and I think moving forwards, like this can only get better as the more people join, the more people listen and take advice. And it's a freedom of speech. We're not going to gun anyone down. We've said that anyone that wants to try to bully or make someone look silly, they're being removed straight away from it. It doesn't matter about the money. It matters about the outcome that we're trying to provide the community.
It'd be great for it to be a place where, like you say, newcomers will come on. They might be a new external transport manager, and they use the community to learn, to ask questions, to get their experience. And then once they've got that, then they can give back by answering the questions of newer members. And it'll just be this nice circle of knowledge. Because I think one of the biggest things in business and life is just to always be a learner, just continual learning, just always knowing what you don't know.
Exactly right. I appreciate that. No, 100%. And have you got any advice for others that are potentially coming into this industry and thinking about becoming a transport manager? Like, what advice would you offer them?
But always, just exactly what I touched on there. Just always learn. When I first joined the fire service, it doesn't apply perfectly to this, but I was told as a probationer when I first got on stations that you've got 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. Just listen twice as much as you speak, and that kind of, to me, I took that as meaning just be a sponge. Just try and listen, just try and learn as much as you can. Don't think you know it all. And that's not to say that sort of new external transport managers think they know it all, but just realise that there's a lot to learn past those 8 days in the classroom and that great big lever arch folder that you have to go through for your CPC. That's basically just those 8 days are just getting you through the exam at the end. It doesn't teach you anything about the day-to-day practicalities of being a transport manager. So just realise there's a lot more to learn, and that stuff that you will learn, that a transport manager coach can teach you, will open up so many doors and really turn like the career as a transport manager into something that could be great in terms of work-life balance.
No, 100%, 100%. And like for the famous quick fire rounds, then what do you wish someone had told you before you started this journey? Before I hit the fire round, so if someone today, 10 years ago, when however long it was, what would you wish someone had told you before you started this journey as a transport manager?
That you could make a real successful income from it just as an external transport manager, and that you could have done that while still being a firefighter.
I love it, love it. Right, so we really appreciate everything you've been saying and everything, and the advice for the others. The last two questions I gave you was absolutely brilliant, and I love the 2 ears, 1 mouth situation. That's something I need to learn. I love my own voice, so I need to shut up and listen more. So I'm
glad you took the hint.
Yeah, that's it. I know, right? That's subtle, but yeah. So what we try to do is, before we sum up the rest of the interview now, is we do a quick fire round at the end of the talk. And are you ready for it, mate?
Yeah, let's go.
So the whole idea of this is a quick fire round. We just say the first thing that comes to your head. So as long as you're happy to go, question number 1: what is your favourite bit of kit in a waste industry vehicle?
Oh, it's got to be our material handler. It's the Fuchs material handler, 22 ton, but it's got the elevating cab. So if you're loading waste into an Arctic, you can elevate the cab, so you're kind of looking into the top of the Arctic as you load it. Yeah, it's just a wicked bit of kit, and it's a lovely toy.
You're gonna have to show me that, because I've never ever seen that or heard of it. So I'm actually, my ears are pricked now. I'm very interested in that. Number 2, early starts or late finishes?
Oh, early starts. I'm up at 4:30 every morning.
Oh, mate. You're loving that gym and all that, aren't you, mate?
It's the only time the house is quiet. I've got three young kids. It's the only time where I can just sit with a coffee and just be lovely silence.
I need to try that, but I like my sleep too much. That's the problem. Number 3, 1 word to describe transport compliance.
Minefield.
Love it. Number 4, if you weren't in the waste industry, what job would you be doing?
Firefighter.
Firefighter, love it. And the last one, final, is, what's the best part of being a TM?
Well, I've only really been an internal TM. I can tell, I can see what it'd be like as an external TM, and it would just be how you could design basically your work week however you'd like, almost, more or less. You could really design a life and a work-life balance that really suited you and your circumstances.
Love it. So this is sad to say, this is the end of today's podcast.
Oh, mate, that went quick.
Yeah, it did, and I've really enjoyed it, and I wanted to talk more and more and more, but it was just like I didn't want to go too much, but I really appreciated it. And many more questions from me when I come see you next, that's for sure. But I just want to say thank you so much, Leo, for jumping on today, mate, and sharing your journey. I know everyone else would be happy and excited to comment about your journey and how you've got from a firefighter to owning your own successful business, and now creating and being a partner and owner of the Transport Manager Coach. So if anyone wants to speak to Leo personally or anything like that, you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Leo, aren't you?
Yeah, on LinkedIn, and the Transport Manager Coach is on Facebook, so you can message on there. This podcast will be up on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so you can leave comments on YouTube there. And our aim is to have this podcast out every couple of weeks. to begin with, and then slowly ramp that up to one a week. But yeah, just get in contact with us. Let us know what you want to hear from us about. Questions about the industry or different avenues. As Darren said, you can do compliance, you could do auditing, you could do training. Just hit us up on those socials and let us know what you'd love to hear about. And of course, you can find our community, our Transport Manager Coach. The links to that will also be on the YouTube.
Amazing. So thank you once again, Leo, and thank you for the listeners listening in. And have a lovely evening, everyone. And this is from the Transport Manager Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, and cheers, Darren.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.